And I think you are, from the sound of it, you are very lucky to have a good husband who will not, take the toothpaste and put it under the bed or take the toothbrush.
No, no. I think I have someone um who is a great listener.
You are listening to NIMDA Talk.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to come your way again. I hope everyone is doing well. Weather is getting warm, so which is good. And we have another episode of our podcast. I have a very special guest today that I would let her introduce herself. Hello, my friend. Who do we have here today?
Hello, my name is Joy Okuor Konkwa. I'm from Nigeria. Um, Currently working at Pennon Group with the sustainability team, and I live in England. Yeah.
That's nice. So, thank you so much, Joy, for joining us today. It sounds like you do something in sustainability. What do you do? I heard you talk about sustainability. What exactly do you do?
So I'm on a grad program, a 2-year grad program with the company. We've It normally is characterized by 3 rotations. I've worked in different departments, so this is my last placement. So we focus mainly on carrying out ESG assessments,
Mm,
um, and I think, in simple terms, trying to make sure the company is keeping to terms with its sustainability.
okay. And you say you are from Nigeria. You live in England.
Yeah,
Where about in Nigeria are you from?
I'm from Delta State.
Yes. How was growing up like for you as a child?
It was beautiful. I grew around family members. It was really beautiful. I spent a lot of time with my siblings, my parents, read a lot of books, played a lot. So I think I have a happy memory of what my childhood was like.
And at what point did you decide to move from Delta State, Nigeria, to England?
So I'm from Delta State, boy. I lived in the capital, Abuja. Um, I never really thought of traveling out much.
Mhm.
Yeah, after I graduated my first degree, I started working with an American company, Hello Tractor, and I think I was really doing fine well, learning a lot there. But then I grew deeper into my passion. I've always had a passion for agriculture, food security, agribusiness since I was small. So when I was working at Hello Tractor, it made me realize how much untapped potential there is for agriculture in Nigeria. So I thought it would be best to go to a country that is quite vast in knowledge on agriculture, learn from there, and take back my learnings to Nigeria and Africa at large, actually.
You do any bachelor's degree, undergrad education in Nigeria then?
Yes, yes.
Where did you go to school in Nigeria?
Benson Idahosa University was in Edo State. I
Okay.
don't think you know that place.
I do not. Is it a popular university?
Yeah, if you're in Nigeria, you would know it. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, someone who is quite vast with Nigeria will know it, but it's a good school.
Okay. Well, I guess my Nigerian credentials are very poor then.
You're trying.
Okay. So, did you study agriculture in Nigeria? Like what did you study when you were back at Benson Idahosa University?
So I studied. It was a BSc, yes. So it was
Okay.
agriculture, science, and technology. But the one in the UK was global food security. So I got a partial scholarship to study at University of Glasgow.
The things that surprise you and how did you deal with that?
So I always have my mindset that whatever it is, I can achieve it.
Okay.
I knew I've spoken to a couple of friends who live abroad, and I actually did have one in Glasgow who I've known a long time. They all told me how adaptation was quite difficult and all, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I can handle it. I can handle it. Not until I actually came here and saw that it's not that it's easy to say, but until you find yourself there, the culture, the transport, documentation, the different people is quite different. And the worst part of it for me was I came in November.
Hmm.
December, I spent Christmas alone. I remember crying and making pasta. It was quite,
You
it was
did?
quite lonely, so lonely for me.
And I assume that you finished your degree. How was the educational experience? Were there things looking back that you learned?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I actually like learning. I love University of Glasgow. My
Okay.
modules were they were so inspiring and insightful. I like that we did a lot of research. So it made us delve into like global agricultural systems like across different countries and also in the space of 1 year, I think I learned so much. The only limiting thing was that we did that 98% online because of the COVID
Oh, I see.
year. I met my supervisor on my convocation a year after for the first time.
Okay, the I just respect that you got married and you have a beautiful love story. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Can you talk to any? I think that's a challenge that most international students have on the social side of things when they move into a new country. And since you have such a beautiful story, would you mind telling us a little bit about that whole beautiful love story?
Okay, I will.
Okay,
So,
good.
I tried not to seclude myself to
Mm-hmm.
or to limit myself to that triangle of work, school, church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian, so I go to church quite often. I tried to join groups. I tried to volunteer, so I could network and kind of meet people. I met a couple people, but I don't think we were on the same trajectory. I remember friends telling me, Joy, why won't you just pick one? It's hard to find people here. You end up molding the man you want. I'm like, no, I
Okay.
won't mold him. I've been praying to God for years. I know what I want. Even though it looks very good on the surface, it may not exactly be that. So I was praying for like discerning spirit and all of that. I met my husband in church in Glasgow,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason I feel like I knew it was him the moment I saw him. Well, I wasn't ready. I think
Okay. Joy, hold on. So talk to us about that day. Were you in the church choir and then you started singing and he came dancing? Um, how did what happened on that day? Were you an usher in the church? Is he the organist? Like, how did that whole meeting happen? I think that's a very insightful encounter.
okay. So I was a worker in the church, but not then. It was
Okay.
only after I'd met him I became a worker. I think I was walking into church and I think I saw someone smiling happily and like his composure, and yes, he was handsome. He is handsome. Smiling and greeting some other brothers in the church, and I don't know why I felt kind of endeared to him, and I
Okay.
kind of suspected he was going to chat me up later. Apparently, that was his last day in the church. He only came to say bye to his people and let them know he was leaving there. So if I had missed church that week, probably never would have met him. Church. I remember he said he saw another guy trying to say hi to me, and in his mind he's like, "Okay, what are you doing with her? Move on already and give me some space." Or, yeah, we got talking and we became friends afterwards. Hung out sometimes. He sent flowers and all, but he asked me out almost not too long after we became friends, and so I let him know that I like you, or I'm not ready. I think it was a really terrible time for me. Apart from that, I had gotten a job to move to England, so everything was quite shaky. I'm like, oh, I'm moving in the next couple months. How we manage the distance, and also I said no, and our friendship went down the drain for the longest time till
Mm.
almost a year later when we got back again.
Okay. So you felt ready after the year.
Yes, yes. When I moved down, I think I was in a good headspace. I'd settled, and I think I was ready mentally, financially. I was quite sufficient in myself to be able to accommodate someone else.
Thank you for sharing that story. And I think a challenge that most young people studying abroad face when it comes to saying I do is the cost of marriage and the cost of the wedding, itself. So I assume you went back to Nigeria with your would-be husband. You had a very big wedding with all the pomp and pageantry, spraying of money and all the beautiful things we see on TV. Is that what happened? How was the wedding? Can you talk to us a little bit about that? I think most people will be curious to know how you managed to do that whole process. How did it go?
Okay, so we got engaged 7 months after officially dating. I know we've
Mhm,
been friends for a while,
mhm,
but officially dating, we got engaged 7 months after. And then we checked the average prices of a wedding in the UK, and it was £17,000 average. And then I'm like, I didn't also have the stress for it, to be honest. And I thought how much that 17,000 could contribute towards the mortgage instead. And he thought the same thing too. So we spoke to our parents and let them know that we'd like to do our wedding here.
mhm,
We'd like to do it in the smallest way possible. So we only had a registry wedding with
mhm.
2 witnesses. We had a dinner with our closest friends, about 25 people, including us. We had the pastor's blessing the next day, and we traveled for our honeymoon the day after. So, what we did was we had the section at the dinner where we had collected videos from our loved ones in Nigeria. They were able to send their wishes to us because we thought about it, having our parents come over and all of that would be quite stressful and expensive. I think people should do their weddings the way they want it to be,
Mm,
not just because you feel this is tradition. Some may go as far as borrowing money and all. That's fine if it's what works for them, or not for us. We are happily married now with the way we did it, and we're happy.
mhm.
Yes, but our parents had a celebration in Nigeria. They literally did a kind of big wedding
Okay.
in Nigeria in absentia, which is very funny when I tell people. And they did the celebration and did the traditional rites there. We just joined via Zoom, and we had like representatives, our siblings. So I'm yet to meet his mom physically, and he's yet to meet my parents physically, but we speak to them almost every other day.
Wow. And I mean, looking back to the whole process and to sort of that aspect of your life, um, what advice would you give young people? Because I mean, one of the purposes for which we have these conversations, I always tell my listeners that the point is to have just ordinary people like you and I tell extraordinary stories. Okay, so when you look back at that part of your life, that experience, what would you tell other young people, other young Africans studying abroad on that whole love journey? What would you tell them? What would be some of the important things that you have learned from your own lived experience?
Okay, I would say that the decision of a partner is like one of the most critical decisions one can make. It could mar or make you. Okay. So people should be very careful when they're making that decision. They should try to be very discerning. I had my criteria in a man. I was looking for someone who was really God fearing, kind, caring, someone who listens, and someone who will support my dreams because I'm quite ambitious. And I think I found that and more. And on my own part, I tried to be the best for him. So I would say be really discerning when you're looking for a partner. Don't go out after surface things like, oh, he's just handsome, he's just this. Look deeper and make sure that person is a good person. I had a mentor who I made to stop being my mentor. Why? He told me a couple years ago, he said, Joy, if you aspire so much and you try to get a PhD, no man will marry you. And I'm like, what? Don't put that mentality, your mindset on me. And it's so funny to see now that I'll be starting my PhD soon, and my husband was the one who pushed me into getting it. So getting the right partner, I pray and I believe he's the right person for me. I strongly believe 100%. I think it's helped me to grow. That decision has helped me to grow. So people should be quite discerning in getting their partner. And secondly, don't do things because it's what's expected of you. Do it because it's what both of you want, and do it because it's the right decision. You're the two people involved in it. So do what works for both of you.
Mm. The piece about your mentor and telling you something that you didn't like or you thought wasn't consistent with the vision that you have, I think it's an important piece. I know a lot of us, and a lot of people who have people in their lives who would advise them or help them think through decisions. And what they tell them carry a lot of weight. How were you able to um, decide, decipher between what he or she told you and what you thought was the right path? How did you make that? How did you make that firm decision that I want to do a PhD, and irrespective of the negativity, I'm still going to push through? How did you do that? Are you very strong-willed then? Would you say?
I am strong-willed, but I listen to people's opinion. If they bring out an opinion and it seems really logical, I could give into that really, but I am strong-willed. And apart from that, I think that a mentor now doesn't have to be your mentor forever. I think
Okay.
sometimes they do have seasons. That was the mentor I had during my first degree, and maybe his time had just expired, because I know in my heart that going ahead to pursue my PhD to learn more, acquire more knowledge, should not chase the right person away from me. It should actually make them be admire me even more. So
Mhm.
I knew it was the wrong decision, and that was in no way going to affect me. Besides, my dad, my parent, my family are quite inclined to the academics. My father is even like, "Oh, go ahead!" Like he's a professor. So yeah, I've had like their support and the support of my husband. So and God definitely. So it helps me to keep pushing.
At the start of our conversation, you told me about your passion for Nigeria
Mhm,
and the food system.
mhm.
You see yourself going back to Nigeria with your family to pursue other dreams after your education.
Um, so one thing I like about the world now is we're not limited by where we physically are.
So that's a
Uh,
no.
yes. No, no, wait, wait. There are things I'm actually working on. We are working on in Nigeria. Even though we're here. So I don't think our physical presence here would limit us from carrying out things around there. We're trying to build structures and like start some agricultural businesses in the future, but we're
Mhm.
kind of like drawing the map for that.
Mhm.
About moving there permanently, it's not in our 5 to 10 year plan.
Mhm.
However, visiting there very often, it's in our plans.
Wow, that sounds very methodical. You have 5 and 10 year plans. That's quite impressive.
Okay.
I, I- you are very opposite to me in that I live like by the hour. I just wake up and so that's a very thought out orientation. I like that.
I think that may change for you. Thank you. And that's not bad at all. Like sometimes being flexible is also important because I mean the world is ever evolving and changing. However, I do think um, with family, just that flexibility kind of reduce this a little bit because you have to involve every other person in the family as well.
Hmm. Talking about family, now that it is no longer you and you talk about us and about you and your husband, how has your life changed? Is it looking back at your sort of your marital experience, how has your everyday life changed?
That's a funny question.
It is.
Not funny, I would say good. Sorry, I've had it like a lot of times. I don't know how to really explain that, but what I would say is I just see my life being better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have like a great partner who wants to see me grow, wants me to be better, who is there for me, who I can ask for, who is the first person I go to ask for advice, and is vice versa. I'm there to support him in every way. I thought that getting married, but it would come with lots of stress, lots of
Hmm.
house chores, and lots of this. But I think it's easier and simpler for me.
Hmm.
For example, it's also good if a household is being managed by two incomes and all. So I think everything has gotten a lot better for me, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hmm. I think you are, from the sound of it, you are very lucky to have a good husband who will not, take the toothpaste and put it under the bed, or take the toothbrush and
No, I think I have someone um, who is a great listener. When he speaks, I listen. When I speak, he listens. So we communicate and we talk and we plan, and it's been so easy with him. And every day I just thank God. And I'm like, thank you for giving me this person. And I only pray that it continues in that trajectory.
that's a very beautiful love story. I want us to conclude our discussion on your PhD. If I recall correctly, you are just about starting. What are you hoping to do? What's the 5 and 10 year plan for that PhD?
So it's I'll be commencing in October, and it's a 3 year program for me. So the theme of my I'm yet to find a specific topic for it. I'm working towards that, but the theme of my studies would be on achieving agricultural net zero.
Mm.
So I'll be working with several organizations, industries that are relating to agriculture, kind of work hand in hand with agriculture, like agricultural stakeholders, to see how they can all come together and build synergies that could help the agricultural industry achieve net zero.
Mm. Wow, that sounds like a very interesting and pertinent issue, particularly with all the changes and concerns about climate change. So you are probably at the right place at the right time, would you say?
Yes, I would say so. Thank you, because I know that agriculture contributes a lot to climate change. So tackling that would actually help in a long way to save our planet.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking that very Herculean task on. Um, I always tell people who listen and the guests I have coming to talk to me about their life and about everyday things. on some of the final thoughts that they will share with a young person who is listening to us right now. Okay, so looking at your collective experience right from the heart of the Delta State to Abuja to um, Edinburgh, Scotland, to England, what would be, if there's one thing that you would say to somebody listening to us, young African person in Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, South Africa, Malawi, Namibia, what would that be?
That if you can think it, I know it sounds like a cliche, but if you can think it, you can achieve it. As long as you're consistently putting the hard work, networking and connecting with people and not trying to give up, you can achieve it. Where I was in when I came to the UK is quite different from where I am. I 3 years ago, I didn't know I would be in a company that I love or about to start my PhD or be married to someone I love. Um, but here it is now. Sometimes I look back and say, oh, what I prayed for, I'm actually living in it. There are challenges, definitely. There are. But if you can think it, consistently work towards it, and you can achieve it, even though it's not the same for every other person. You are different. You don't have to be like every other person or have the same experience with them. And never allow imposter syndrome kick in. Sometimes you'll be like, do I deserve this? Do I deserve that? Yes, you do deserve it and more. Okay. um don't limit yourself. You can achieve it if you think it. That'll be the word for me.
Excellent. I think that's very very appropriate. I have had a lot of fun chatting with you. And I think I think the young men listening to us can benefit from some of the things you've told them about smiling, maybe going to going to church or social gatherings, approaching young women that they like. Don't you think that the young men could also benefit from some of the social skills your husband has, or no?
Please don't stay. Just engage in something, okay? Even if it's not for a relationship purpose, you can
Okay.
meet people that will help you grow in your network, your career, and all of that. Just
Okay.
be open. And oh, my husband is actually he's not so extroverted. I think he's just averagely social. So you don't have to be so social or extroverted before you could engage in things
Mhm,
outdoor that helps you to meet people.
mhm. Okay, so young men out there hiding in your basement, playing video games, it's not the way to go. Playing
Yes.
video games in your basement is not the way to go. Go out there, meet people. But as Joyce said, if you think it, you can make it. I have really enjoyed chatting with you today.
I
I
have
think
to.
we've connected on several different levels and talked about many important things that are food for thought. So thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. It's a pleasure having you here, and I hope we'll talk again in the not too distant future.
Yes, thank you. It's an honor to actually be invited here. I really appreciate it and I so enjoy talking to you all. Thank you.
You are listening to NIMDA Talk.